In the hallowed lecture hall of Berkeley College of Political Science, an air of anticipation mixed with academic prestige filled the room. High ceilings loomed over shelves brimming with political lore, setting the stage for what was about to become one of the most memorable academic confrontations. Dr. Rebecca Langley, a tenured professor renowned for her incisive wit and progressive stances, stood poised at the podium. Her reputation was built on a formidable ability to dismantle conservative viewpoints, transforming complex debates into enlightening public lessons on social justice and economic equity. On this particular day, her focus sharpened on a new and unexpected challenger, Barron Trump, the enigmatic youngest son of the former president. His presence in her classroom had stirred a blend of curiosity and whispers among the students from the semester's start. Dr. Langley, ever the strategist, had watched him closely, noting his calm demeanor and the subtle smirks he offered in response to her most unassailable points. Today, she decided, was the day to engage him directly. As the room settled and murmurs faded, Dr. Langley's voice sliced through the silence, her tone carrying a blend of intrigue and challenge. Before we dive into today's discussion on economic policy, let's address something rather interesting. She began, locking her eyes on Barron. Mr. Trump, you've been notably quiet. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Let's hear them, shall we? The students shifted, the air thick with anticipation. Barron, unshaken by the attention, met her gaze steadily, his response setting the tone for what was to come. Sure, he replied, his voice even. What would you like to debate, Dr. Langley? Opting to tackle wealth distribution and the role of government in economic inequality, Dr. Langley expected to hear familiar defenses of capitalism. However, Barron's approach was neither predictable nor naive. He questioned the efficacy of systems that purportedly widen the wealth gap under progressive policies, his tone not confrontational but curiously amused. As the debate unfolded, it was clear that something extraordinary was happening. Dr. Langley, known for her tactical precision in debate, found her usual strategies tested as Barron confidently navigated through her challenges. His responses were not just rebuttals, but invitations to deeper inquiry, questioning the very foundations of widely accepted economic policies. Each exchange, increasingly intense, drew the students into a complex dance of ideologies and principles. Dr. Langley, feeling the shift in the room, pressed on, her questions probing deeper, aimed at revealing flaws in Barron's arguments. Yet, with every move she made, Barron parried adeptly, his counterpoints thoughtful and well-researched. The atmosphere was electric, charged with a sense of witnessing an unprecedented intellectual duel. Dr. Langley, momentarily faltering under the weight of Barron's composed and articulate defense, realized she had perhaps underestimated her opponent. This was not merely a debate, it was a profound learning experience for everyone in the room, herself included. As the clock ticked down the final moments of the class, it was evident that this was no ordinary lecture. It was a vivid demonstration of intellectual courage and the power of respecting diverse viewpoints. The class ended not with a clear victor, but with a palpable respect for the discourse that had unfolded. Dr. Langley, while gathering her notes, couldn't help but acknowledge the shift in dynamics. Today she had intended to teach a lesson, but ended up receiving one instead. As students lingered to debate further and approach Barron with questions, the true impact of the day's discussion was clear. It had challenged assumptions, sparked curiosity, and perhaps most importantly, demonstrated that true learning comes from the courage to engage with the unknown. As the students settled back into their seats, the atmosphere in the lecture hall still buzzed with the residue of the debate's first sparks. Dr. Rebecca Langley, recalibrating after the unexpected challenge posed by Barron Trump, was determined to steer the discussion towards deeper, perhaps more contentious waters. The topic on the table was now not just economic policy, but the fundamental roles and responsibilities of government in regulating society. With a renewed sense of purpose, Dr. Langley posed a provocative question aimed directly at Barron, her tone a mixture of challenge and curiosity. Let's pivot our discussion towards the role of government more broadly. Mr. Trump, considering your views on minimal government interference, how do you reconcile the need for regulation in sectors like healthcare, education, and the environment? Barron responded with a thoughtful pause, his eyes scanning the room before answering. The question isn't whether we need regulation, but whether the regulation we have is effective and just. For instance, in healthcare, heavy regulation and bureaucracy often increase costs and stifle innovation, rather than making care more accessible. The room hummed with whispered agreements and disagreements, a testament to the complexity of the issues being discussed. Dr. Langley, seizing on his points, pushed further. But without substantial regulation, how do we prevent the exploitation of the vulnerable? Unchecked capitalism can lead to significant disparities and abuses. Barron's reply was calm, yet assertive. Exploitation is not a byproduct of capitalism alone, but of any system where power is unchecked. The solution isn't more government control, but better accountability and transparency in both the public and private sectors. This exchange marked the debate's shift from theoretical to tangible examples. Dr. Langley, known for her dynamic teaching methods, switched tactics, introducing real-world case studies into the discussion. She projected statistics and historical data on the screen behind her, illustrating points where government intervention had either succeeded or failed. Each example was a piece of the puzzle, challenging students to think critically about the balance of power and responsibility. Barron engaged with each case, his responses increasingly nuanced. He acknowledged the successes while pointing out the unintended consequences of various policies. His ability to concede points without undermining his overall argument added a layer of sophistication to the debate that resonated with his peers. Dr. Langley, feeling the momentum shift, introduced a new angle. Let's discuss the ethical dimensions of government intervention. Is it not the duty of a government to ensure a level playing field, to protect its citizens from the excesses of the market? Barron leaned forward, his expression serious. Ethics in governance is crucial, but ethical governance isn't about control. It's about ensuring fairness and justice. Protection doesn't always have to mean intervention. Sometimes it means empowering people to make their own choices. As the debate progressed, students began to participate more actively. Some echoed Barron's call for empowerment, while others sided with Dr. Langley's argument for protective intervention. The discussion became a vibrant mosaic of opinions reflecting a broad spectrum of ideological beliefs. Dr. Langley, adept at facilitating complex discussions, guided the conversation with precision, ensuring that each student's voice was heard. The classroom transformed into a lively forum for debate, a place where theoretical knowledge met real-world implications. As the class period neared its end, it was clear that the day's discussion had gone far beyond a simple debate. It had become a profound exploration of the role of government, the impact of policies, and the ethical considerations that guide our political landscape. The bell rang, signaling the end of the session, but the energy in the room did not dissipate. Students clustered in groups animatedly discussing the points raised, while others approached Barron and Dr. Langley with further questions. Dr. Langley, packing up her notes, could not help but feel a sense of achievement. Regardless of where the opinions lay, she had ignited a fire of engagement and critical thinking among her students. As she left the room, her thoughts were already turning to the next class, to the next debate, and to the continuing challenge of educating the next generation of thinkers and leaders. The aftermath of the intense classroom debate lingered like a charged atmosphere after a storm. As the students dispersed, the discussions that began in Dr. Rebecca Langley's lecture hall spilled over into the corridors of Berkeley College of Political Science, buzzing through the academic halls and into quieter, more reflective spaces. Dr. Langley, back in the solitude of her office, found herself deep in thought. The day's debate had not only challenged her students, but had also stirred something within her, a mixture of professional satisfaction and introspective questioning. She reviewed her notes in the exchange, pondering the precision of Barron Trump's arguments and the responses they elicited from her students. The engagement was undeniable, and so was the shift in some students' perspectives. This was the essence of academic debate, she mused, the clash of ideas, the testing of theories, the sharpening of minds. Meanwhile, Barron walked through the campus with a few classmates who were eager to delve deeper into some of the points he had raised. They discussed the nuances of government roles in economic systems, the balance between freedom and regulation, and the philosophical underpinnings of political ideologies. Barron appreciated the genuine curiosity and the challenging questions, recognizing these moments as opportunities for all involved to refine their understanding and articulate their positions more clearly. Back in the classroom, the remaining students formed small groups, animatedly debating the points Dr. Langley and Barron had touched on. Some students felt swayed by Barron's advocacy for minimal government interference, while others remained convinced of Dr. Langley's emphasis on the government's role in ensuring equity and justice. It was clear that the debate had acted as a catalyst, encouraging students to reassess their own beliefs and the foundations upon which they were built. The following day, Dr. Langley decided to dedicate the class session to reflections on the previous day's debate. She opened the floor to the students, inviting them to share their thoughts and the impact the discussion had on their viewpoints. One by one, students stood up to speak, each contribution adding layers to the ongoing dialogue. A particularly insightful comment came from a student who noted, "Yesterday's debate was a reminder that in the pursuit of truth, it's crucial to listen as much as we argue. It showed us that our classroom isn't just about learning what to think, it's about learning how to think." Dr. Langley nodded in agreement, pleased with the maturity of the observation. She emphasized the importance of being able to engage with opposing views respectfully and thoughtfully, pointing out that the ability to change one's mind in light of new evidence or compelling arguments is a sign of intellectual strength, not weakness. As the session progressed, it became evident that the debate had not only educated the students on the topics discussed, but had also taught them valuable lessons about dialogue and the dynamics of disagreement. Dr. Langley encouraged her students to carry these lessons forward, to apply them in other academic settings and beyond, into their future careers and civic lives. The class ended on a high note, with students lingering to thank Dr. Langley for facilitating such a dynamic and enriching discussion. As they left, Dr. Langley reflected on the power of education to bridge divides and expand minds. She felt a renewed sense of purpose, reminded once again why she had chosen the path of an educator. Later that afternoon, Barron received an email from Dr. Langley, thanking him for his contributions and proposing a follow-up session where they could explore further topics. She suggested they collaborate on a panel discussion involving other faculty members and students, aiming to foster a broader dialogue across the political spectrum. Barron responded positively, appreciative of the opportunity to engage further and recognizing the value in diverse academic interactions. This exchange marked the beginning of what would become an ongoing series of debates and discussions, enriching the academic community and strengthening the fabric of discourse at the college. In the wake of the vibrant debate between Dr. Rebecca Langley and Barron Trump, a new initiative took shape at Berkeley College of Political Science. Driven by the profound engagement and curiosity sparked in the previous sessions, Dr. Langley proposed a series of panel discussions designed to further explore the intersection of politics, economics, and ethics. The initiative, titled Bridging Ideologies, a Series of Dialogues, aimed to cultivate a forum where diverse viewpoints could be expressed and examined in a structured yet open environment. Dr. Langley and Barron worked closely together, planning the logistics and thematic structure of the panel series. They decided on a range of topics, each chosen to provoke thought and discussion. The ethics of economic policy, the role of government in personal liberty, globalization and national identity, and technology and privacy. For each panel, they invited faculty members from various departments, including economics, sociology, and history, as well as student leaders who had shown keen interest and insight during classroom discussions. The first panel discussion was held in the college's largest auditorium, a testament to the anticipated interest from the student body and faculty alike. Dr. Langley moderated the session, which included Barron, a renowned economist, a socialist thinker, and a libertarian political theorist. The panelists presented their views on how ethical considerations should influence economic policy, especially in areas affecting wealth distribution and access to basic necessities. The discussion was lively and at times contentious, with each panelist bringing a distinct perspective. Barron argued for the efficiency and moral justification of free markets, emphasizing personal responsibility and the pitfalls of dependency. The socialist thinker countered with arguments about economic justice and the moral duty of societies to ensure no one falls below a basic standard of living. The Economist focused on empirical data showing the outcomes of different economic systems around the world, while the Libertarian highlighted the importance of individual freedom and the dangers of overregulation. Students participated vigorously, asking pointed questions and challenging the panelists' assumptions. The auditorium buzzed with the energy of intellectual challenge and exploration. After the panel, many students expressed their appreciation for the opportunity to hear such a wide range of arguments and began organizing informal discussion groups to further explore the ideas presented. Encouraged by the success of the first panel, Dr. Langley and Barron organized subsequent sessions, each addressing a different theme. These events grew in popularity, attracting attention from other universities and the local community. The discussions were recorded and made available online, extending their reach and impact beyond the immediate academic community. The Bridging Ideologies series not only enriched the college's academic life, but also fostered a culture of respect and open dialogue among students with differing beliefs. It challenged participants to think critically and empathetically, considering not only their positions but also the reasoning behind opposing viewpoints. As the academic year progressed, Dr. Langley reflected on the growth and changes she observed in her students and herself. The series had sparked a deeper interest in democratic engagement and a better understanding of the complexities of political and economic theories. She planned to publish a collection of essays and discussions from the series, hoping to inspire other educational institutions to undertake similar initiatives. Barron, too, felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had not only contributed to, but had also learned from these exchanges, gaining insights into his own beliefs and the perspectives of others. His involvement had altered his own academic and personal trajectory, steering him towards a future where he might continue to engage in public discourse and policymaking. As the Bridging Ideologies series at Berkeley College of Political Science gained momentum, it began to exert a profound influence not only within the academic community, but also in the broader discourse on public policy and civic engagement. The dialogue fostered by Dr. Rebecca Langley and Barron Trump was shaping future leaders and thinkers, equipping them with the tools to navigate and influence complex political landscapes. The students who actively participated in the series found that their involvement had a significant impact on their career trajectories. For some, it affirmed their passion for politics and led them to pursue roles in governmental and non-governmental organizations where they could directly influence policy. Others ventured into academia, driven by the desire to further explore the theoretical underpinnings of the debates they had engaged in. Still, others were inspired to enter the private sector, aiming to implement ethical business practices that reflected their understanding of economic policies and their societal impacts. One notable example was a graduate student who had presented a compelling argument on the panel about globalization and national identity. Her insights led to an internship with an international think tank, where she contributed to policy recommendations that balanced economic benefits of globalization with the preservation of cultural heritage and national identity. The discussions from the Bridging Ideologies series also resonated beyond the university walls, influencing public policy debates. Excerpts from the panel discussions were often cited in broader debates and publications, serving as references for arguments on economic policy and government intervention. The series had effectively become a resource for policymakers seeking diverse viewpoints and in-depth analysis of pressing issues. Encouraged by the success of the series at Berkeley, Dr. Langley and Barron worked to expand the program. They established partnerships with other universities to create a network of similar series across the country, each adapted to the local context and policy concerns. This network facilitated a larger national dialogue, connecting students and academics from various backgrounds and regions, enriching the discourse with a wider array of perspectives. Recognizing the potential for even broader impact, Dr. Langley spearheaded the development of a digital platform that hosted recordings of the discussions, scholarly articles, and policy analysis from the series. This platform became a valuable resource for educators, students, policymakers, and the general public interested in the intersection of politics, ethics, and economics. As the academic year drew to a close, the impact of the Bridging Ideologies series was evident in the vibrant community it had cultivated. Dr. Langley and Barron hosted a closing symposium, reflecting on the year's discussions and planning for the future. The symposium highlighted key insights from the series and outlined strategies for further expanding the dialogue. The series had started as a simple classroom debate but had grown into a significant academic and civic initiative, demonstrating the power of open dialogue in shaping public discourse and policy. For Dr. Langley, Barron, and all those involved, it was a reaffirmation of their commitment to education as a tool for societal change and a reminder of the enduring value of diverse perspectives. The Bridging Ideologies series, established by Dr. Rebecca Langley and Barron Trump at Berkeley College of Political Science, concluded its inaugural year with significant accomplishments and a vibrant vision for the future. However, the end of the series was just the beginning of its influence. The initiative had set in motion a wave of engagement and discourse that continued to ripple through academic, professional, and public spheres. As the first cohort of students who participated in the series graduated, their careers became testimonials to the impact of their experiences. Alumni found themselves in various influential positions, from policy advisors in government to leaders in nonprofit organizations aimed at fostering dialogue and resolving conflicts. Their work often reflected the principles they debated in the series, balancing economic efficiency with social equity and individual liberty with collective responsibility. One notable alumnus was invited to speak at an international conference on economic development, where he presented a model of sustainable growth influenced by his experiences in the Bridging Ideologies series. His approach, which emphasized stakeholder engagement and ethical considerations, was well received and later implemented in several developmental projects globally. The digital platform that Dr. Langley helped develop continued to evolve, becoming more than just an archive of past discussions. It grew into an interactive forum where current students, alumni, and experts from around the world could engage in ongoing debates and collaborative research projects. New features were added, including virtual reality environments that allowed for more immersive discussion experiences and AI-driven analytics to help users explore complex policy implications. Building on the success of the series, Dr. Langley and Barron organized annual symposia that brought together influential thinkers and policymakers. These events served as a nexus for cutting-edge ideas and transformative solutions to global challenges. Each symposium focused on a particular theme, such as technology and democracy, or climate change and global equity, reflecting current global priorities. The partnership network also expanded, with more universities and think tanks joining to host their own series. This network facilitated a global exchange of ideas and best practices, enhancing the quality and reach of public discourse. To ensure the long-term impact of the series, Dr. Langley and Barron established the Bridging Ideologies Legacy Fund, which provided scholarships for students from underrepresented backgrounds to study political science and participate in the series. Additionally, they launched a collaborative research initiative that funded projects exploring innovative solutions to political and economic problems. As Dr. Langley reflected on the journey of the Bridging Ideologies series, she felt a profound sense of accomplishment and optimism. The series had not only met its initial goals, but had sparked a movement that would continue to influence discussions on democracy and governance for years to come. Barron Trump, reflecting on his role, saw his participation as a pivotal point in his personal and professional development. It had challenged him to refine his viewpoints, engage with diverse perspectives, and contribute to meaningful dialogues. His ongoing involvement in the series and its related activities remained a central part of his commitment to public service. The Bridging Ideologies series stands as a testament to the power of academic dialogue to foster understanding and facilitate solutions to complex issues. Its legacy continues through its alumni, the evolving discussion platform, and the annual symposia, ensuring that the spirit of open, respectful, and rigorous debate remains a vibrant part of the global academic and political landscape. If you enjoyed this story, there's another video on screen right now. Go ahead and give it a look for an even more astonishing stories. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, that way you'll never miss our newest uploads.